Shadow football. This was probably the most unpredictable quarterfinal out of all of them, as there were huge questions about both teams heading into this game. Can Norway once and for all gel together and unleash the full potential of their world-class team, or will Italy's resilience and superior team cohesion prevail, albeit with less attacking quality than their opponent? The short answer is no. Norway couldn't get their superstar frontline firing, and Italy produced a dogged display to score twice and down the Scandinavians. The long answer is as follows. The talking point for Norway going into this game was, will their front line of Champions League winner with Leon Ada Hegerberg, Champions League winner with Barcelona Caroline Graham Hansen, Champions League winner with Arsenal Frida Leonhardsson Monum, and 2018 Norwegian Women's Cup winner with Lillestrøm Guro Reiten, fire on all cylinders and combine together to produce a scintillating attacking display that promises so much on paper? The fact that they didn't, and never did, poses a much more prominent question. Why not? Well, the answer that I have come up with is, Gemma Granger's system is too rigid. The problem lies with the midfield. Whilst there isn't anything wrong with the combination of Engen and Noalsund, how Granger likes her midfield is for both of them to operate as defensive midfielders. Granger prioritizes players keeping their positions on the pitch rather than letting them play with fluidity, which is really frustrating because Lisa Noalsson is a wonderful box-to-box midfielder and performs that role for Manchester United, and it's frustrating for me as a Man United fan to see her skills stifled because of this tactical setup. This is how Norway build up. They build up lopsided, where Reiten, who was playing left back, which I'll get to later, would tuck in with the centre halves creating a back three, and Bielda would push forward into the midfield. This in turn pushes Graham Hansen further forward and Monum is given the license to roam and pick up the ball wherever she wants. But the issue is, this is a lot of ground for Monum to cover. Norway don't need 5 players back here to build up. Engen is perfectly capable of playing as a lone holding midfielder, and Lisa Noalsson should be set free and be allowed to roam with Monum. Pushing Noalsson further up means Monum can focus more on attacking and less on the build-up, which plays to her strengths because she's great at finding space in behind and possesses a pretty lethal shot. She isn't the type of player to drop back and spray passes left and right. We can see this here where Engen and Noalsson are both here, and Monum comes all the way back here to pick up the ball just to play a pass to the female baby-faced assassin, Signe Gubset. That pass could have been played by either Engen or Noalsson, and Gubset has the ball on the left-hand side with no one to link up with in the middle. When my beloved Elizabeth Turlin came on, this midfield problem was amplified even more. Turlin came on for Monum, which meant Granger took off the only player remotely capable of linking the defense to attack. But Lisa Noalsson is still on the pitch, so someone please tell her she can move forward into the final third to link up with the forwards, because this huge amount of space the size of Switzerland is the kind of space Noalsson can operate in. It was so frustrating to watch, and I'm not even a Norway fan. This is clearly a managerial choice and not because Noalsson placed a huge bet for Italy to beat Norway on the day so she could at least win something. Contrast this to the midfield trio for Italy. Giuliano, Caruso and Severini were dynamic, energetic and classy. Manuela Giuliano is a magnificent player, so silky and possesses a really good passing range, while Severini and Caruso were extremely hardworking on both sides of the ball, regularly threatening an attack and also marked Norway's extremely stiff midfield out of the game. Caruso and Severini tormented Engen and Noalsson by always being in their faces all the time, preventing them from getting the ball facing the way they want to attack. Italy's 4-3-3 mirrored Norway's 4-2-3-1, as each Italian player had a direct opponent to mark. And boy, did they do a good job of that. Italy defended high up, ready to put pressure on Norway, with the aim of stopping them from exiting their own half, or putting enough pressure on them to give the ball away. Italy's extra midfielder meant that Severini and Caruso were both given the license to go and press, with Giuliano sweeping up behind them. Italy played with such high intensity, it's possible that Ada Hegerberg said pineapple belongs on pizza to Girelli right before the game. Norway, on the other hand, did not press at all. Defensive positioning clearly a greater priority than marking specific players on the pitch, which is a fine tactic to deploy. However, there needs to be someone to put pressure on the ball holder, and Granger's Norway didn't even do that. This resulted in Italy playing through Norway very easily. This pass from Giuliano, who is now my new favourite player, to Severini takes 5 Norwegian players out of the game, and Italy are now on the front foot to attack after just one pass to exit their own half. Di Guglielmo has the ball on the left hand side over here and passes it to Giuliano. The Arsenal version of Frida Leonhardsen Monum would be flying in to challenge, but the Norway version of her just casually jogs over and doesn't even attempt to lift the leg to block the pass. Monum then doesn't track Giuliano as she gets a pass to Girelli, and Tuva Hansen drops off instead of putting pressure on her to disrupt the pass. Girelli lays it back to my new favourite player Ariana Caruso, and Norway's midfield is caught so narrow you could throw a handkerchief over them. And Caruso spreads the ball out to Sofia Cantore, who comes up against Guro Reiten. Okay, let's just get this out of the way really quickly. I understand that Marit Bratt Berglund was suspended for this game, but playing Norway's best left winger by a mile at left back just to have her on the pitch was the wrong move. I know Signe Gurbset had an outstanding game against Iceland, but bringing her on to make a difference in the second half would have been better than playing a left winger out of position at left back in a major tournament quarter-final. They would have been better off playing Emily Voldvik at left back from the start since she's an actual defender. If we look at this here, the moment Manuela Giuliano committed herself to running in this channel was the cue for Reiten to shoot out and close down Cantore. Reiten doesn't do that and does not get close enough to Cantore at all, giving her way too much space to put the ball in for Girelli to score. Reiten's defensive nightmare didn't end here, with my new favourite player Sofia Cantore putting another ball in a few minutes later for Italy's second goal of the game that was rightly chalked off for offside. Norway's frustration continued, but they did look a bit brighter going forwards, but there were moments where the lack of attacking cohesion really showed as Bielda puts a cross in for a cutback, but Hegerberg moves for the tap-in. And here, where right-footed Gurbset can loop a cross in for Hegerberg, who is completely free and thrives off balls like this, but Gurbset chooses to dribble further and force a cross in that was blocked by Cecilia Salvai. Italy dropped their intensity a bit, which allowed Maren Mjelde to play a good ball over the top to the best striker in the world after Elisabeth Turland, and Ada Hegerberg takes advantage of Laura Giuliani's indecision to rush out and puts the ball in the back of the net. If Giuliani fully committed to rushing out, then this goal is never scored. But Linari's initial positioning was poor as she was in no position to track or block Hegerberg's run, which was one of 2 of her mistakes in this game. The other mistake was forgetting she's a professional footballer and deciding to rugby tackle Hegerberg in the box. Fortunately for Linari and Italy, the penalty was off target. From then on, Norway tried to push forward for a winner, with the midfield problem still a big problem, and Italy looking like they might have run out of steam. This game looked like it was heading to extra time. Both teams looked fatigued as Tuva Hansen gives the ball straight to Salvai and Italy looked to build one more attacking move. Greggi moves the ball onto Washington DC's new darling Sofia Cantore and makes a crucial run this way to drag Lisa Noalsen out of position, freeing up this space for Cantore to cut in. Noalsen realizes too late that Cantore was never going to pass the ball to Greggi, and Cantore has about an hour and a half to look up and play genuinely one of the best crosses I've seen in a while into the box, and finds Cristiana Girelli for her captain to thump home the winning goal. And whose team selection backfired? Yep, Gemma Granger's insistence on playing Guro Reiten at left back was a factor as she was caught ball watching when the cross came in. It wasn't entirely her fault though, as Caruso, Cambiaghi and Girelli all lined up at the back post, which meant Reiten had to watch all 3 of them. Reiten had her attention on Girelli the whole time, but ended up positioning herself on the wrong side as Girelli looped around the back and headed Italy into their first semi-final in this century. This was a fantastic performance by Italy. Their back four was strong, cohesive and brave. The midfield so classy yet so hard-working. And the forwards as well, full of energy and quality. Cristiana Girelli provided the finishing quality we're used to seeing from her. Ariana Caruso was instrumental in Italy's attack. Sofia Cantore terrorized Norway's backline constantly, and Manuela Giuliano orchestrated everything from the base of the midfield. In the semi-final, watch out for Italy isolating and overloading a defender when a through ball or cross is played. They did this multiple times, like the Severini chance, where Mjelde had Girelli and Severini to watch as Caruso plays a great first-time ball for her midfield partner. And this chance, where Girelli and Caruso both occupied Reiten's area and had an attempt at goal. England will have to nullify their midfield, as that is a huge strength for the Italians. Their midfield three works so well together, it's a really balanced combination. As for Norway, This was a disappointing tournament for them, as I'm sure their fans expected more from the result and what their talent pool promised. This was a great game to open the knockout rounds, and with the semi-final awaiting Italy, they are entering uncharted territory in tournament football for the first time in a long time. They will surely feel confident coming up against England next, as they must have gained a lot of belief from this game. The passion they have for the country and for each other is unrivaled, and I'm excited to see just how far Andrea Soncin can take this Italy team.